it's not the similar case with that kind of intention of Sama Sambuddha to live long life, right? Is it similar?
I don't think so. I think all the beings on his world system have very long life.
Okay. Right. So it's not similar case, yeah.
Yeah,
because I think Lord Amitabha, I think, create his own universe, right? In this case, create his own heaven, create his own place, right?
Yeah, create his own pure land. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it's maybe not similar. Okay, all right. Okay, Bante, thank you.
Okay, no problem. Hi, Beijing and the rest. I don't think I have time for introduction. Okay, so you let Terence start.
You too, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Satipatthana Buddhist Society weekly guided meditation by Phra Goh. Today is the 12th of October, 2021. Bhante was born on July 14, 1985, and had his big ordination to the Theravada tradition of Thai Dhamma sect at Santi Forest Monastery, Johor, 2008. Bhante is currently the religious advisor to Buddhist Youth Network Singapore and has been conducting MSBS weekly guided meditation since last year. This week, we are continuing on the topic of non-self. Bhante will be leading the homage to the Buddha and taking of 5% for Buddhists. Now let us compose our mind, our palms together, and welcome Bhante.
Okay, thank you, Terence, for the intro. So we shall start off with the opening chant and homage. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. And the three refuges. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. And the 5 precepts. Panatipata viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinadana viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kamesu miccācara viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musāvāda viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Suramiraya manjapamadatthana viramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Tonight we will be continuing this Anatta Lakkhana Sutta, the discourse on non-self. And we've covered basically the past 1 or 2 weeks the logic or the idea how the Buddha deduce and come out with this conclusion. No? Everything is not self. Okay, next. And we talk about the intro, talk about the audience, which are the first 5 disciples after the first sermon. So this is like the second sermon, and this is not like consecutively. After first sermon, then he gives second sermon. So it's like the monks are actually going through 3 months of this rains retreat. So there is in between lots of personal guidance and coaching from the Buddha, and this is like the second sermon, after which he ended the sermon. All 5 of the monks gain enlightenment. Right. So after I give the talk, don't expect to get enlightened so quickly. Need 3 months of intensive training. Yeah. Okay. Next. Okay, so this is like the logic. So there are 5 aggregates, not just form. There's also feeling, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. So these are the 5 aggregates. So Buddha mentioned one by one. So form, he mentioned it's not self, because the reason being, right, because it's lent itself to disease, and you cannot control it. You cannot tell it, don't be like this or be like that. And because it changes against your will, therefore you cannot label it as self. So this is the logic. Okay, next. Yeah. Because it lends itself to disease. That's why you cannot say form is self. So the form represents the 4 elements, not just the parts of the body. It can also mean external things. According to this Maha Satipatthana Sutta, it can be internally or externally. Yeah? So we talk about also feeling, perception, mental formation, and consciousness. So this one is the mental aspect. So early on, form, normally people classify as rupa, right? There's nama, rupa. Nama means mind, which is this 4 aggregates, and rupa, which is the form. So this mind and matter is by right together. So whenever we think of a form, the mind, which is these 4 aggregates, will come to play as well. Will come to attach with the object. So if we think of the hair, right, like our meditation, we think of the hair, we have feelings, perception, mental, fabrication, consciousness attached to the hair. And so we will think the hair itself, our clothes is the self, mind, right? The building you have, it's yours, because there is this mental aggregates as well. So once you have contact with something, naturally, this mental thing that pay attention to whatever object will attach and find it to be, yours. Okay, next. Okay, so this is the step-by-step working to sort of come to this conclusion. So first, the Buddha asked the monks, are these 5 aggregates constant or inconstant? Are they permanent or subject to change? So this is the first question. What do you all think? Good answer. Okay, so things are always subject to change. So in our meditation, we'll know, we reflect on not just the visualization of the body, but also real-time evidence of your sensations, the 4 elements, right? Like the earth element represent hard and soft sensations, fire element represent hot and cold sensations, wind, fast and slow movements in the body, and water, moist or dry. So if you just sit there and observe the various sensations in the body, are they like the same? Can you tell this? Maybe the heat element. Can you tell your body to be warm forever, to have this same temperature forever? I do not want to feel cold, yeah, or this movement in the body. Can you tell your breathing rate to be like constant or the same? Or your heart rate, pulse beating, can you tell your heart rate to be the same? Right, so certain things you can't really control, so you cannot call it like the self. So likewise, feeling, right? Can you tell your feelings to be pleasant forever? And sometimes you sit down, maybe for some time you have different feelings already. Yeah? After you sit for too long, then you have unpleasant feeling, right? So can we tell the feelings to be the same? Hey, don't change, don't become unpleasant. Yeah, and likewise perception, all the labelings, all the past memories, we sort of come up to label and cognize the object. So there's perception based on memory. So whenever you hear or you perceive something new, you have new perception, new labels, new knowledge. So next time you have reference to something, you perceive it differently. So maybe, for example, when you were a child, maybe you perceive, let's say, money. You perceive money in a certain way. And if you grow older, then you look at money again. You perceive it differently because of new knowledge, new information, right? All the maths and economics you've learned in your education system or from your parents, whatever. Then you have different perspective. And let's say if you're 10, like nowadays, there's a lot of these maybe financial management courses or whatever it is. Then again, you have different perception towards money. Yeah. So this is just one example. And of course, fabrications, basically your mental formations, that's your karmic formations. Every time you experience a new sensation, where does this experience originate from? Yeah, so this is fabrications. So when it appears to that particular area of attention, so that is fabrication or mental formations. Then likewise, consciousness, basically it's your attention, some body and mind. So our attention span, it's not constant. Can you say, can you pay attention to the screen forever? And your attention, your mind will be running around. So that running process, it's also called fabrication. Yeah. So the new attention arises from somewhere, so that is fabrication. Okay, so these things are always in constant, yeah, always changing. Okay, next. And because it is in constant, the Buddha asks, is it peaceful or stressful? Yeah, is it peaceful or is it suffering? So next, so the monks answered, it is stressful, it is suffering. Whenever you have a fixed expectation, then when it changes, then definitely the mind cannot come in terms. It will be call it in conflict, in stress. The mind cannot be in peace. Right? So this nature, we have our expectation, we want things in a certain way. No, I don't want to feel uncomfortable, I don't want to get sick, I don't want to have whatever, but the reality is different. So when expectation versus reality clash, then you have this stress, this conflict. Right, next. And this is the conclusion, because whatever subjects to change and is stressful, therefore, you cannot say this is mine, this is myself, this is what I am. And so the Buddha asked this question to the monks, and the monks answered, no, yeah? You cannot label it as yourself. So this anatta, non-self, or this concept of self has three layers. One is the external thing called mind, and the other two is internal. Yeah? Either your ego or your personality. So this is the different levels of self. Okay, next. Okay, so today we are talking about the application. Earlier on is the contemplation part, yeah, what you need to think to derive this understanding of non-self. So today is how to apply. Is it just in this lecture? Is it just in this sermon? Yeah, you agree. Yeah. This Bhante say, yeah, whatever you say makes sense. And after the end of this class, the mind back to square one. And this, the mind drift off again, has great hatred, back to square one. So, so now we are talking about application, when and where to apply this logic. Okay, so first is, thus monks any form, feeling, perception, fabrication, consciousness, basically 5 aggregates, whatsoever that is past, future, or present. Next. Internal or external, latent or subtle. Next. Common or sublime, far or near. Yeah, every of the 5 aggregates, right, is to be seen as it actually is. With right discernment as this is not mine, this is not myself, this is not what I am. Okay, so now I'm going to break down all this huge content one by one. So we're going to look through color by color. Different color represent different scenarios. Okay, so the first application, let's talk about past, future, or present. So if you want to think of the past, you have to think of the past with regard to the 5 clinging aggregates. As in permanent suffering, non-self, there's 3 universal characteristics. So sometimes people think, hey, think of the past, can man, or think of the future, can man. I thought meditation always present moment, always present moment. So not true. So right here, the Buddha said past, future, or present. So one clear example, if you do it correctly, if I'm talking about going far, far back to the past, example, a recollection of past lives. Some people can recollect past lives and reflect correctly and reach enlightenment. So this again mentioned in the Iddhipada Vibhanga Sutta. So that is if you do it correctly. But if you don't do it correctly, then there are many beings who also can recollect past lives, and demons and spirits also can recollect past lives. So they don't mean anything. Right? And when we do our meditation, let's say recollecting of the Buddha's qualities. Now we look through the Buddha's story, also looking in the past. And is there anything wrong? Right? But that itself also a kind of meditation. Can you call this meditation wrong? Yeah, you think of the past. Yeah, you think of the Buddha, how his virtue, how he overcome the various obstacles. You recollect of the qualities of the Buddha, then that is also thinking of the past, right? And likewise, for the future, when we meditate, we think of the parts of the body growing, decaying, and falling off, arising and passing away of the parts of the body. So that is thinking of the future and also the past. We need to refer to how does fallen hair look like? How does the dead skin look like? So we need to have certain reference of the past that we can project into the future. One day all these will grow old, they will fall off, and they will sort of pass away. Right? So if you do it correctly, then that is contemplation of the future, past and future. Right? So this is also, thinking of impermanent suffering, non-self. So in our meditation, we also ask, are these parts of the body truly self, truly yours? Can you tell this hair or these teeth not to go through birth and death? For you to work, for you to think and find this contradiction. Right? If you think it is truly yours, can you tell your hairs don't fall off? Then you tell your skin not to fall off, right? But they fall off on their own, right? And how about present? Yeah, present is always talked about. Be at the present moment, be at the present moment. But although it's good to be at present, but our cognitive functions in our daily life cannot always be at the present moment. Right? And I'm going to give an example. Because we start off with formal meditation practice, so we think of these meditation objects. But in daily life, we need to practice what is right mindfulness in all your activities. Standing, walking, talking, going to the bathroom. You need to plan. You need to plan when's your next meal. You need to think of the future. When you go and fill up an application form, when is your birthday? You cannot put present moment. Your form get rejected, right? You need to use the various kinds of thinking, past, present, future in your daily life. So if you want to talk about bringing your practice into everyday life, every moment, then you must learn, understand these 5 aggregates and how to detach from them. When you think of the past or future, that is also a contact. We call this mind door, mind sense door, mind door contact, using your thoughts, your ideas. We have the 6 senses, eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. So when you think of the past or the future, that is using your mind door. Right? But of course, talk about present moment, whatever you see, smell, think, hear, taste, that is like present moment. But again, any of the 3, past, future, or present, can also be practiced wrongly. So if you think of the past, you dwell in the past, can be either greed or hatred. Or maybe think of the negative things in the past, and think, then get the depression or PTSD, whatever it is. Yeah? Some crisis you have, some trauma you have, you think, and it gets worse. So that is being attached to the past, not learning to let go. So likewise, for those who want to practice seeing past lives, if you do not understand or do not have the foundation of this insight into practicing detachment and impermanence, you see many past lives being attached, or like watching K-drama, all the past life, lots of drama you watch, very nice. And you start to keep, past life, who's my partner, who's my spouse, where I keep my property, where's my treasure, where I keep them. So you end up like that. Yeah, so not encouraged unless you have certain level of foundation. And vice versa for the future, and also can be practiced wrongly, right? Future, if you worry, we call it restlessness and worry. You're going to plan ahead. In future, maybe my savings is not enough. You worry this, worry that. Come on, many scenarios. And nothing wrong to plan, but sometimes you overdo it and you get attached, and that's where all the emotional problems come in. Too much stress. So this is worry about the future. Either same thing, greed or hatred, right? And finally, present moment. So present moment also the same thing, can be attached to, can be done wrongly. Coming to the present moment. So if a person, I would like to give you an example of people who like to pay attention to the body. Let's say maybe supermodels or bodybuilders. Yeah, they look at the mirror all the time, look at the body all the time. Always mindful of the present, always posing and maybe flexing and looking at the mirror, very mindful of present. Yeah, but does that reduce this attachment? Yeah, so again, I've given scenarios, both positive and negative way of thinking of the past, present, and future. So again, it's up to you to try out, figure out how to apply, right? So one way is in a formal meditation session, that is like the R&D, you know, the punching bag, learning how to defend yourself with a stationary kind of meditation object, so that in daily life, so that is like a moving target in daily life, you know, all the different stimuli that come, how to handle that. So this is one of our aims. And the next one is internal or external. So we've covered that in Satipatthana Sutta. You can be mindful not just internally within the perimeter of the body, but also externally. So if a person contemplates on the body, one of the meditation objects is also to look at the aging and the decaying of, let's say last time they have this, looking at the corpse. Yeah, so one day I'll be like that. Yeah, so again, we try to keep this family friendly, so don't try it on your own. If not, some people do until they get depression. Yeah, thinking of past, present, and future, internal, external also can do wrongly. Some people, they look at external thing and they get depression, or they look at internal body, not happy with the body, also can get depression. Some maybe the young people to self-conscious, image conscious, yeah, and keep on looking at themselves, finding fault with themselves, or people criticizing them, and over self-conscious, and then get a problem. So either internally or externally, right, without right contemplation, then you get these emotional problems. But with right reflection, right, you think of impermanence all the time, or this suffering on oneself, then eventually you detach. So wherever your attention may be, past, present, future, internally or externally, right, then that is the condition to practice. It's not about sitting here. If you sit here, the mind also runs here and there. The mind think of past, present, future. The mind also can be paying attention internally, also can be paying attention externally. So it's how you apply, the right thought, the right reflection. Okay, then the next color talks about blatant or subtle, coarse or subtle. So something coarse would be, the physical. We talk about the physical coarse kind of form, and subtle, something imagery. Imagine. So we have like the physical hair. If we close our eyes, there is also hair. Yeah, we visualize the hair. So that is something subtle. Yeah, coarse and subtle. So there are many, again, different degrees of coarse and subtle. Basically, whatever object you pay attention to, have to keep reflecting. Then same thing, common or sublime. So common are our gross kind of emotions, greed, anger, so on and so forth. And sublime would be like the sublime states, loving kindness, compassion, appreciative joy, equanimity. So like these are like the different common states of minds, sublime states of mind. And far or near, yeah. So sometimes you look at the news channel, certain countries and many cases or certain places going to war, whatever it is. So if we get affected, get angry or upset, so that means we never reflect. But if you look at the channel, then you apply the appropriate reflection, you have generate compassion, or you generate this reflection of impermanence, then you slowly detach. Yeah, you can have a response, you need to do something, prepare yourself, but there's no emotional upsetness, no emotional kind of being shaken. So this is the practice. So anyway, 2 days ago is this World Mental Health Day. So very appropriate, World Mental Health Day. So this is the practice to sort of improve your mental health, mental resilience. Right? Everywhere you look, everywhere you hear, negative news, negative whatever, if we get overly worked up, then not good for your mental well-being. Yeah, but if you know how to invest in this training, right, this self-upgrading, then you slowly improve your mental resilience, improve this mental health. And again, yeah, so if you have any suggestions for future topics, because we have like maybe 1 or 2 more slides and we're ending the session, then you can suggest them. Any questions? Now it's 9 o'clock. We open the questions to the floor. Everyone okay? Who's need some time for digestion? All clear? All understand? All enlightened already? About Terence in the comments on the Facebook? No, nothing. Okay, if there's nothing, maybe we go for a break, right? Maybe 5-minute break or something. Then you can do your stretching, relieve yourself or non-self, and we come back 9:06, 9:01, yeah, for the guided session. Okay, we have a question. Somebody typed directly, what am I if I am not? If this is not what I am, then what is the purpose of our existence? Okay, very good question. A bit like a Zen koan. You can keep asking and questioning. Yeah, because no, if there is this greed, right? This craving for existence, then that's why we exist. So the purpose of spirituality or Buddhist spirituality is to transcend this existence. It's not to deny existence. Yeah, it's not to say no self at all. Then we try not to exist. No. Yeah, it's to transcend. It's like this analogy, growing out of the mud. So this existence is a bit like a pool of mud, like a pond, and yeah, making use of the nutrients of the soil or whatever suffering or dirt to grow out. So there may not be true or real happiness within that mud, but the mind has to go beyond the surface of the mud to experience it. So at the meantime, the simple answer of this purpose, I would say, is to continue, yeah, do good, avoid evil. And that's how we purify the mind. Okay, any other questions? Okay, if not, then we start the session. Okay, find a comfortable sitting position, posture. Make sure your back is upright. And the body relaxed. Okay, and we are starting to contemplate on the parts of the body and visualizing the hairs of the head, hairs of the body. We reach all the hairs, well and happy. So all these hairs, even though they are imaginary, yeah, but they still attach my hair. And yeah, loving kindness to the hairs first. Yeah. Sometimes we think of change immediately, think of impermanence, then we cannot take it, sure, we suffer. So you need this loving kindness. And every time you conjure a new image, a new portion of hair, a new patch of hair, then you need to wish it well and happy. A new patch of hair, well and happy, new patch of hair, well and happy. New image means new contact. And the reason why we keep repeating is whenever a new contact is left alone, it will naturally default into greed and hatred. So this particular training is to intervene and reprogram the mind into positive habit, reinforce the mind, positive thinking. And once you have reached all the hairs with this loving kindness, and it's easier to think of impermanence. So all these hairs go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So they keep growing and falling, many, many cycles of this birth and death of the hairs. And the image or changing image is the kind of perception, how you perceive the head. And the generation of a new image, new emotion, that is formation, mental formation. And the awareness, attention to that image is the consciousness. And consciousness has varying degrees of depth, or basically different emotions. So the greedy and angry kind of consciousness, all the way to less greed and anger, or is it joyful consciousness, or peaceful kind of consciousness. So you can observe. And we cannot multitask, and you just think of one aspect. The whole idea of meditation is not to over-intellectualize. So we have evidence-based is whatever you generate as the form. So the form is always anchored. Bring the mind back to this evidence. And growing and falling, growing and falling. And then we can ask ourselves, are these hairs truly self? If they are truly self, can you tell the hairs not to go through birth and death? And the next part of the body, we're going to visualize the nails, fingernails and toenails, and we wish them well and happy. All the fingernails, may they be well and happy, and all the toenails, may they be well and happy. And all these nails go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So they keep growing and falling, growing and falling. Many, many cycles of birth and death. So again, this mind or this consciousness has different levels. So a lot of times we take everything as like whole package, including selfish emotions. It's part of self, that is I. But the more we detach and let go, is it truly with you? And is it there with you? So this is like a very systematic way of filtration until you find the smallest denominator or smallest substrate left. And can you even divide it further? Can you even break it down further? And what is truly and originally yours, if you truly believe in itself? So we're training our minds like this Teflon, non-stick. If we are not mindful, then this mind will have like a layer of super glue. Every contact, every phenomenon will be embraced and become part of the self. And then we can reflect and ask, are these nails truly self? Can you tell the nails or whatever mental factors associated with the nails not to change, not to go through birth and death? And next we can visualize the teeth, all the teeth inside the mouth. May they be well and happy. Or the upper rows of teeth, may they be well and happy. And all the lower rows of teeth, may they be well and happy. And all these teeth go through birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. Yeah, so these teeth and they fall out the most twice. So you can think of the bone cells instead. All the cells in the teeth, they go through wear and tear, grow and fall off, grow and fall off many, many times. So this imagery of whatever you're thinking, the cells are, call it subtle form. No matter whether it's near or far away, zoomed in or zoomed out, and still 5 aggregates. I believe most of us may have never seen our teeth cells before. Eh? So whatever you imagine that is, become part of yours. And we can ask ourselves, are these teeth truly self? And we tell the teeth not to go through birth and death. And next, we can think of the skin from head to toe. We wish all the skin well and happy. Okay, the skin is quite a large area, so whenever you conjure a new image, a new patch of skin, wish it well and happy. A new patch of skin, well and happy. New patch of skin, well and happy. And all the skin are subject to birth, aging, sickness, and passing away. So you think of skin growing and falling many, many times. Then can ask ourselves, are there skin or any mental factors associated with skin? Are they truly self and originally self? Can tell the skin not to go through birth and death. And next we are moving on to the second phase of meditation, this Brahmaviharas. And we are going to practice this spatial kind of training, no need to visualize, you just feel the sensations. So we are now wishing all beings in front, may they be well and happy. So basically when you extend your attention to the front, either near or far without pushing, just a gentle wish, whatever sensation you feel within the field of attention, you just wish them well and happy. So this one is real-time evidence, no visualization required, no imagination. And we come back to ourselves, and we wish all beings behind well and happy. And we come back to ourselves, and we wish all beings on the left well and happy. And then we come back to ourselves. And we wish all beings on the right well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And we wish all beings above well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. And we wish all beings below well and happy. And we come back to ourselves. So this time round, we are wishing the sensations in our entire body well and happy, from head to toe, including the insides of the body. This fills this entire body with loving kindness. Whatever sensation you detect, and you wish it well and happy. So these sensations, again, we can classify into the 4 elements: earth, fire, wind, water. Any hard and soft sensations, these are the earth element; fire element, warm and cold sensations; wind element, fast and slow movements; and water element, moist or dry. So there's no need to control these elements, no need to purposely generate them. no clinging and no pushing them away. So just like be a passive observer, and whenever sensation arises, wish it well and happy. Sensation arises, well and happy. And treat all of them as passerby. Every time a new sensation arises, that is a formation. And new sensations form. And we can reflect. Are they permanent or impermanent? And try to want it to stay. Will it cause stress? Compared to not controlling. And whatever is changing and we cannot control, right? You control, it causes this tension or stress. Then we need to reflect, this is not self. So in meditation, the more stress, the more suffering, the more anxiety you have, that means the sense of self, the selfishness has increased. And ego is there, and this ego is like a target board, subject to being attacked by the vicissitudes of life. So now trying to lower this target board, always apply right reflection. We can take note of this state of mind, and now without any level of concentration, no matter how peaceful, then this is a restricted state of mind. It means the area of attention still within confines of the body. And now we're expanding it further. We are wishing all beings well and happy. So again, no need to push or imagine. Let the mind expand naturally by itself. However far the mind wants to expand or embrace, then that will be your universe. And again, using a real-time evidence, whatever sensation you can detect within that field of attention, and wish it well and happy. So all beings, all formations, all sensations within that field, and they be well and happy. So the more you reflect on loving kindness, the calmer the mind should get. And within the mind has calmed down. And again, we think this is our mind, yeah? But that emotion is my emotion. So then again, that state of mind also is subject to change. All the sensations that form these emotions or form this state of mind, yeah, they arise and they pass away. We keep reflecting or observing impermanence. No matter what emotion you experience, no matter how pleasant, how peaceful, always reflect they are impermanent, they are non-self. Common meditators problem would be they think, oh, this state of peace is mine. Yeah? So once you have that, then you forget to reflect on impermanence, and all kinds of hindrances come. So the whole idea is to filter out what is subject to formations, yeah? What is subject to the elements. And is there like a mind that is not touched by the elements? So keep traveling the middle way, keep observing permanence. And then take note of the state of mind, and it's a combination of both samatha and vipassana, using loving kindness. And the next sublime state would be compassion, and we are wishing all beings that they be free from suffering. And so suffering is again one of the contemplations to derive non-self. How, all beings, all sensations, you wish them free from suffering. So more compassion we generate, then calmer the mind should get. And this is using samatha and concentration method to practice compassion. And without impermanence, it's easy to assume that this piece belongs to me or mine. And my samadhi or my compassion. So how to truly be free from this suffering is to reflect on impermanence, whatever is subject to change, subject to suffering, then that is not self. So when you reflect, there's a change of state of mind, a change of emotion, and because there's this change, so this emotion also not self. So in the Mahayana and in the Heart Sutra, we talk about this emptiness. So one of the description is Pumsang Pumye, there's no arising, no passing. So whatever arises and passes is not self, subject to change. So we keep practicing detachment, detachment, detachment until the mind experiences sort of like something like a byproduct that has no birth, no death. And so we are mindful of this positive, wholesome thinking. And it's standing, sitting, walking or lying down. And with that in mind, we conclude this session. And we can slowly open our eyes. Okay. Yeah, so that's the now 10 o'clock. Many questions or problems? Everyone okay? Smooth sailing? Yeah, Susan, has something?
Yeah, Bante. Actually, tonight I actually sat very well because actually my concentration was there. But halfway through, I saw a lot of all my favorite colors come out. So towards the meditation as you go, I realized that probably this is a distraction. No?
Yeah.
So like you always say, detach from it, detach from it. So I had to really try very hard to come out of that image. And after that, it really disappeared itself.
Yeah, it's not to reject them, not to cling to them. So whatever phenomenon you experience, be it mental visualization or sub-vocalization or whatever it is, treat it as impermanent and non-self. You cannot control the color. No? You cannot tell it to come and go as you please, right? So they come and go by themselves. You just reflect as impermanent non-self.
Because I realized that once you go into it, it's like a vacuum. And you are so immersed in the beauty of it. You don't want to come out. After that, when you realize really you want to come out, it's like a little difficult.
Yeah, so we that's why we do 2 in 1, whatever state of mind, be it they call it sublime, whether is it a concentrative state or not a concentrative state, always be mindful of this impermanence and this non-self.
Thank you, Bante.
Okay, all right. Anything else? Okay, if not, we can do the dedication chant. And dedicating merits. Akasata cha pumata deva naga mahirika punyantang anumoditva chiraraka tulokasasana etavata cha amhihi sampada punya sampada sabbe deva sabbe buddha sabbe satta anumodantu Sabha Sampatisiddhya. Transference of merits to departed. Idam me nyatinam hotu, sugita hotu nyatayo. Idam me nyatinam hotu, sugita hotu nyatayo. Idam me nyatinam hotu, sugita hotu nyatayo. And aspiration. Imina punya kamena mame bala samagamo sata samagamo hotu yavani bala patiya sadhu sadhu. Okay, all right. That's the end for the class. Any announcement, parents?
No, sir, but then.
No, if not, then see you all next week, right? And yeah, we're going to close this Anatta Lakkhana Sutta and probably start a new chapter. If you have any suggestions, you can feel free to suggest any new topic. If not, then we can end tonight's session. Yeah, good night.
Good night, Bante.
Good night, Bante.
Night.
See you next week.